Welcome, everybody, to Everlasting Veteran Podcast. I am your host, Ryan Landry. I am joined in studio today by amazing guest, Scotty Hasting. He is a Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky native, is no stranger to walking the line of two different worlds, from growing up on the border of Northern Kentucky and the southwestern edge of Ohio to teetering between Army and civilian life. His journey has always been marked with choices, a journey characterized by hard work, resilience, and his innate desire to be part of something bigger than himself. U.S. Army veteran and Purple Heart recipient, now country rising music star, Scotty Hasting. There we go, everybody. My vet brain kicked in a little bit there with the words and everything. I don't like editing stuff out because it shows kind of what I go through, what other veterans go through. It's one of those things that it's just part of our lives now. And you're a testament. You've been there, done it. How's everything going?
Yeah, first off, man, thank you for having me. I get it. Words are hard. Trust me, I get it.
Yeah.
TBI is a real thing. Dude, things are going great, man. Thank you so much for this. This is awesome.
Yeah. And you touched on it. TBI is a big thing, and it's not talked about enough, I don't think. Understanding it and understanding the interactions with people that have a TBI, and understanding what's going through their mind when sometimes they stumble on words or whatever the case may be. Me personally, I used to be extremely embarrassed when that would happen, because I would think people are looking at me differently, judging me, stuff like that. How have you gotten through? I mean, you just came out with this amazing single. How have you gotten through and landed where you're at?
Man, honestly, for real, a lot of hard work. A lot of work, a lot of putting in the time to truly get. I mean, like you almost kind of have to be obsessive, really, to get to this point to where I started learning how to play the guitar. I started learning how to write songs. Like, I mean, I really put in the work. I really bugged the crap out of everybody that I possibly could, just to get to where I am. And a lot. I still suffer from PTSD, depression, the TBI. I mean, a lot of it is I literally my phone. I put everything in my phone. Everything in my phone. I swear, if I were to lose my phone, people would know more about me than like anyone else. But yeah, it's man, it's truly, it takes a lot of work. Like, you have to work on everything yourself. You have to work on what you're trying to do. But a lot of it is working on yourself, truly working on yourself. And yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things I talk about a lot of times, self-improvement, being the best version of yourself. A lot of times, like you said, it's difficult to do, especially when you're facing particular challenges and not knowing how to get through those when you used to be at that caliber of, this is the mission, this is what I need to accomplish. I'm going to do X, Y, Z and get it done. Boom, done and over with. And, there's times where I'll stop and be like, I just had my sunglasses in my hand and I do it 6 times a day. And I'm like, what is going on with me? Am I losing my mind? Have you ever gotten to that point before?
Absolutely, man. I lose stuff that's in my hands all the time. Especially this hand. If I'm holding something in this hand because I have nerve damage in my right hand from getting shot, I can't feel this hand. So if something's in it and I'm holding it and I've stopped paying attention for a second, I completely forget where that was, especially if I'm looking for it. And then I'm like, oh my God, of course it's in my freaking hand. Yeah, man. I mean, I feel like, TBI and just mental issues, whether it be TBI, depression, PTSD, all that stuff is so prevalent in, our community and veterans. And yeah, man, I feel like everyone goes through that at some point as a veteran in some way, shape, or form. And I am no different.
Yeah. And I talk about it all the time because it is prevalent. The support network, right?
Yes.
You leave service and that brotherhood feels like it goes away,
Mhm.
and you have to create it in a different way. And it's challenging. It really is. It's really challenging because you're reintroducing yourself into the world as a new person, a changed person, and you're never going to go back to that person before enlistment,
Absolutely.
or before, commissioning as an officer. You're never going to go back to that same person. And a piece of you is left with the military forever.
Yeah.
And a lot of veterans go through the same struggles of trying to fill that void, fill that hole, you know. And I've learned over the years that is just not going to 100% happen.
Yeah.
We will find other means, to be able to cope, but we will always forever, and it's okay to accept that we're not going to be able to fill that void, and that let that void be more of a friend, a
Mhm.
reminder of the sacrifice that we gave to our country, and the people of our country as military service members and now veterans. And
Absolutely.
it's a testament to what you're doing now and putting out music and I'm America, and the lyrics and everything else. And we're going to dive into that a little bit more and how you got into music and
Yeah.
everything else. Now, you know, narrowly escaping death. What happened?
So we were on patrol. I was in Afghanistan. I deployed to Afghanistan with 4-4 Cav. I was an infantryman that got deployed with Cav Scouts, which was cool because I got to play with a lot of cool toys that we didn't get in the infantry side. But we deployed to Afghanistan, the Kandahar province of Afghanistan, and we were on patrol one day, and I got shot a bunch of times, 10 times. So 5 times in the shoulder, 4 times in the hip, and once in the thigh. And yeah, I mean, that was, yeah, I don't, I'm truly just blessed to be here. Really. I mean, that was a rough day.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of better days than that day for sure.
And I'm sure, there's a lot of people watching and listening, especially veterans. There's those dark days afterwards, the aftermath that nobody really talks about. People sometimes will come out and they can talk about their story of the incident, and what has gotten you through those dark
Um,
days afterwards.
yeah, man, a lot of it was, you kind of touched on it a little bit before, is like building, finding a new community or a new brotherhood, so to speak, like finding that camaraderie in something else. Finding, for me, it was when I got injured that, I really dove into adaptive sports. And, I played sports my whole life. I grew up playing football, baseball, and basketball. And I found a new purpose and a way to escape the PTSD and depression and anxiety in archery. And then I started shooting archery with the U.S. Paralympic program, and I started traveling all over the country and shooting. But the best part about shooting archery not only was, the escape that I found for the 7 seconds before I released the depression, the anxiety, all that disappeared, but it was also the fact that most of the people that were in the para program were veterans also. So I was able to have that support system and that camaraderie that that you miss so much, because at the end of the day, that's the hardest part, is
Right.
feeling like you're alone and losing that. And then, when COVID hit is when, that shut down, and it was, the world shut down, and that camaraderie and that brotherhood that I was a part of again had kind of disappeared. I wasn't able to see the guys anymore. So I found a new escape and a new purpose in music, and learning how to play guitar, and learning how to write songs, and being able to find that little bit of peace in something. And I think truly getting through stuff, the best way to do it is to find a purpose for what you're doing. Um, I mean, whenever you get, whenever you go through something like what I went through, your sense of purpose, because it goes from your purpose being the military, like this is my purpose, this is my job, this is what I want to do, like this is it. And then you go through something like what I went through, and it immediately gets stripped from you. Like you no longer can do soldier stuff. Like your job now is to sit in this hospital room and just try to heal, and go to all these appointments and just try to heal. So that sense of purpose immediately goes away, because you don't really have a purpose. You're just trying to get better.
Right.
So, I truly think that the most important thing that I found, that helped me get through the hard days and the hard times, is not only finding a community, but also finding something that will give you a sense of purpose, something that you love to do. I always say, find something you love to do and do it all the freaking time, because that is what will give you that purpose, and that is what will give you that sense of worth.
All right.
So.
Yeah. And I do think that identity is one of the things too, loss of identity when you come out. I think that's the first step in order to regaining your purpose. Because if you don't know who you are when you get out, you're not going to be able to find purpose in what you're doing, because you're going to still feel lost, like you're not yourself. And loss of identity, because you, as well as everybody else, knows that we had our identity in the military. We were soldiers, we were sailors, we were Marines, and Marines, they have that saying, once a Marine, always Marine,
Mm-hmm.
and they have that mentality. But at the same time, you go through those. It doesn't matter what branch you are, what time of service you went through. There's a big train up to make you into the sailor, soldier, Marine that you are in the military, and they spend time and money to do so. But there isn't enough time, I believe, to helping with the transition out of the military. What are some of the struggles that you faced when you left service?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I don't think that there is enough for people getting out of service to transition into the civilian world, because it is a completely, it's incredible. Like, especially when you're deployed, like you go from being deployed to being basically forced back in the civilian world, and being deployed is easy, because you don't have, like, your responsibility is to make sure that you and your brother survive, and you complete whatever mission is you're told to do, right?
Right.
Like, that's super easy. But then you get home, and it's like, now I have all these other, like, you just get bombarded with responsibilities. You have to do this, and you have to do this, and you have to do this, and now we have to do this, and it's like, oh my god, like, it's just this overwhelming sense of just being just run down. And that for me was really the biggest struggle, is that I went from being deployed and having the responsibility of just surviving and taking care of my brothers and sisters. That's easy. I can do that because I've been trained to do that.
Right.
And then going from that to getting shot, and then going to Walter Reed, where my responsibility is just to go to appointments and make sure that I get taken care of, and that I try to heal to the best of my ability, so that I can get back with my guys, because that was always the thought, was that I was gonna heal as much as possible so that I could get back. And then and then you get basically retired out of the military, and it's like, holy crap, how do I civilian? Like, what? Like,
Right.
they try, they try to transition you, they try to help, but they can't explain in a PowerPoint what it's going to be like when you actually go to get out. And I think that that's kind of the hardest part, is that there's so many unknowns when you go to get out, because the world was this way when you were civilian, and then you came in, and then the world became so much easier, because the military is easy, man. They tell you what to do, when to do it, what to wear, and I mean, it's super easy. And then you get out, and like, all of that is now on you. It's like,
Right.
what the hell? And you really realize how many hours in the day there actually are, because you wake up at 6 a.m. and you're like, what do I do now?
Yeah.
What am I doing? What do I do? Um, and then you just basically ask yourself, what do I do now for the rest of the day? And you realize truly how long 24 hours actually is, or how long a day actually is. And I think really that's the hardest part for me was just all the responsibilities that I had to deal with, because I had kids, like I had a family, like it all like just kind of rushed in at one time, and I was like, oh my god, like I don't know, what am I going to do? And not only that, but I'm shot and I have messed up hand. Like, how the hell am I going to be able to provide for my family with a messed up hand? And I'm missing a chunk out of my hip. I can't walk very well. Like, what am I going to do? Like, how the hell am I going to be able to be the man of the house to provide, and with what's wrong with me? I remember my daughter being born and my hand being the way it is, and me basically looking at my mom and saying, how the hell am I going to change a diaper? Like, what? This hand doesn't work. How the hell am I supposed to do this?
Yeah.
But then, of course, man, like eventually you have to truly, just adapt. My life since getting shot has been a series of adaptations and trying to figure out how to do life differently, finding my new normal. And I eventually just kind of got that, like, that mindset, that we're taught in the military. It was like, I'm gonna freaking figure it out. I may not be able to do it, but I'm gonna figure it out, and I'm gonna push myself until I do. And that's kind of how I've lived my life since. It's just, if I want to do something, I'm gonna figure out how to do it. And because I'm not, I'm basically, there was a point in my life when I was very, very low, and had a come to Jesus moment. And I really had to, look inside and say, you know what, from here on out, whatever it is, I'm going to figure out a way to do it. If I want to do it, I'm going to try my damnedest to make it happen. And from that moment, I have tried, to not let my injury stop me at all.
Yeah. And you spoke on a lot of points of the small stuff that, we sometimes take for granted.
Mhm.
I mean, you sat there and you say, how the hell am I going to change a diaper?
Yeah.
I mean, that small stuff of parenting, that, now you're like, okay, I need to figure out a different way to do things. That's stuff you don't think about, and we do take, unintentionally a lot of stuff for granted. But you, as well as many other veterans, know, from deployments and then coming back, you have this new sense of, I'm not taking anything for granted. I'm not taking this clean air, this life that we have in America for granted anymore, than I need to, because, frankly, nobody's going to be able to understand and experience, deployments, unless they went over there. That's the
Absolutely.
bottom line. And, you know, I I read through the song lyrics, and I really think that, America can get behind it, and you're the echo of the bell that's ringing. You are the voice, not just for the veteran community, but for America. When you're singing that song and you're ringing it for everybody to hear, because, and I think it's in a time right now where especially America needs that song. And I felt it, when I listened to it the first time, and I know that everybody else is going to. I was just talking to somebody before this episode, and I'm like, hey, I got to go. I'm going to be doing a recording with Scotty, and this is his new single out, and they're like, oh, all right, I'm following.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Well, thank you for that.
No, it's a testament to your charisma, the person that you are. The Black River Entertainment record label that you have, putting a package together of who you are and showcasing the man that you are, the veteran, the American that you are, all in one freaking song.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And, there's, a lot of lyrics throughout that song that when people listen to it, they're going to feel a certain way, and they're going to again, awaken, that pridefulness of being an American,
Yeah.
and, when we stood together as a country, as one and having unity. And I talk about this all the time. People talk about, my community and this community and that. Well, you can't have a community without unity,
Yeah.
right? You can't even spell the freaking word,
Yeah.
right? It's in the word. And I do believe, and not just because you're on the show. I mean, that song right there is fire. Like
Thank you.
it is fire. And it's a testament to your energy and your
Yeah.
charisma and everything else.
Yeah.
And you
Well, I
do
appreciate
have you do have April 13th. You're slated to open up for Chris Jansen and Parmalee at the third annual concert for Heroes.
Yep.
Are you gonna be playing that song there?
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. No, that song is amazing. Because I'm like you. This song, I didn't write this song. This song was pitched to me. I'm so blessed in the sense that I'm at a point in my career as an artist now where songs get pitched to me and I get to hear people who are a hell of a lot smarter than I am, right? The songs that they've written. And this song was pitched to me and I immediately fell in love with it. I was like, oh my God. Like, yes, I love this. It's an America song that doesn't pick a side. It's not left, it's not right. It's about everything that makes this country beautiful, and that is the land and the people and everything that we stand for, and what America should be is, like you said, unity and coming together and just being as one. And this country, if you truly just take a second and really look around, like there's so much beauty in this country. And I hope that people hear this song and it kind of wakes them up to kind of open their eyes and just see what's around them and understand, this country is incredible. I mean, just look, you could even just hang out in a busy street and just see the people and how beautiful it is that all of us are together at this moment, and people from all walks of life, from everywhere, from literally the whole world coming together in one country. And I think that is absolutely beautiful. And I think it needs to be sung about and spoken about. And I think that's the thing that made me fall in love with it. And every line in this song is the reason why I decided to join, because I love this country and I love the people in this country. And yeah, I love this song so
Yeah.
much. So I will play this song as long as they let me.
I would venture, and this is just my personal opinion, I would venture to say that this song is going to be compared to the feeling that people got with Lee Greenwood's "God Bless the USA."
That's huge.
I think I honestly feel that, because the lyrics in the song and how you present it and, give the people, the lyrics and your feeling and everything else in your story, you can feel it, when you're singing it, knowing what you've gone through and everything else. And I truly feel like it can be compared to that song.
That's incredible. Thank you. I don't know. Like, that's a hell of a song.
Yeah,
Um,
it's very iconic. And obviously a lot of people, they use it to move them,
mhm.
with, videos and, just listening to it. And, the delivery that Lee Greenwood did with that song, it brought people together, and I believe you're doing the same thing with I'm America, and that's why I am putting it in that category comparison, because I think once people hear it,
Yeah.
they're going to immediately connect with it, and it's going to move them in a positive way.
Well, thank you, man. I really hope so. I mean, from the beginning of all of this, I've told the label, Black River Entertainment, that I signed with. I'm blessed to be a part of their family. But I told them from the beginning that I don't care about being famous. I don't care about money. What I want is, I just want people to hear my music and for that to help them in some way, shape, or form. There's other songs that I have. My first single that I put out was a song talking about survivor's guilt, because I wanted veterans to understand that they're not alone in feeling those feelings, and that there are people, there are many people who understand that feeling, and who, who not only understand the feeling but have been there, like myself. And yeah, man, I just want my music to make someone put the gun down and try tomorrow, and then try tomorrow, and then 5 years down the road, look back and be like, look at everything that I have since I made that decision,
Yeah.
and at the end of the day, that's what it's all about, because I have lost so many people here, more people here than in Afghanistan, and it's time for that to stop.
Yeah.
And if I can do even just a small part to make that stop, I have done more in this industry than I could ever imagine doing. And that's truly been my mission statement from the beginning. And I am unbelievably blessed to have Black River Entertainment behind me, and believe in that, and want that as well. And yeah, it's been amazing.
Yeah. And I agree with you 100%. Enough's enough, and we say that because we care. We care about our brothers and sisters. The actions in which happens, and I talked about in this last episode that came out with Javon Quarles, retired Navy SEAL and the co-host of Special Forces: The World's Toughest Test. It's one of those things that even the word suicide is not talked about. People stay clear of it because it's a uncomfortable conversation that nobody wants to have, because they don't know how to approach it. They don't know how to approach people that are going through the dark times.
Yeah.
And I talk about it in business and entrepreneurship and everything else. In life, people are not going to, there's certain people that, not everybody, but there's certain people that are only going to stick by your side when you're at your highest.
Yeah.
Right. And the people that are there for you, even when you have nothing and you're not doing anything, and then they're there for you through everything, those are your true friends. Those are your family. They may not even be blood related. But you're going to, as you go through this music journey, and I think you're going to have a very successful career now with this. And how long have you been playing the guitar?
Yeah, so I was, like I said, I was shooting archery before. I had traveled all over the country, and then COVID hit, and I needed a way to escape the demons, because when it gets quiet is when the demons knock the loudest, and I needed something to break that up. So I actually started playing the guitar when COVID hit, like a week after COVID started to hit, because I needed something to just dive into and focus on. And so yeah, I started. What was that, like 4 years ago?
Yeah, 4 years ago now.
4 years ago. So
Yeah.
I started playing 4 years ago. I started learning how to write music 4 years ago, because that was kind of the next step. Like I started learning how to play guitar. I started learning how to play a bunch of 90s country, because to me, the 90s was the best time for country music, and there's no question about it. But so I started learning all the stuff that I grew up listening to, and then I was like, well, man, I have like all these feelings and these thoughts, and I want to do something with them. So I started, I jumped on YouTube and I started learning how to play, or how to write songs. YouTube taught me how to play the guitar. It can teach me how to write songs too. So I did the same. So then I started writing, and then it just slowly progressed and progressed. And, and then, the world started opening back up when COVID was kind of slowing down a little bit. Well, I don't know if COVID was slowing down, but the outskirts of Nashville was like, we're going to have to shut down. Like, we're going to go bankrupt if we don't open something. So they started opening stuff, and I went and played an open mic night in Cookeville, Tennessee. And I played the first song I ever learned how to play, which was "Should Have Been a Cowboy" by Toby Keith. And I knew in that moment that this was something I needed to do forever. It was that escape, and that peace was there, but it was magnified 100 times. And I knew in that moment that this is what I needed. I started living for the times that I could be on stage playing music and singing. And then I slowly, Nashville started opening back up. So I started bugging the crap out of every bar on Broadway down here in Nashville because I knew they do 3 to 4 hour shows. And I knew for 3 to 4 hours a day, I could have complete peace and I could have that escape. And the PTSD and the depression and the anxiety would not bother me in that time. And I was like, dude, yes. So like I said, I bugged the crap out of everybody. And then eventually I got to the point where I was playing like 5 nights a week downtown because I lived for those 3 to 4 hours a day where I could just be in the moment. Because, that's something that when you suffer from, PTSD, depression, anxiety, that you can't do. You can't be in the moment. Like that is such a rare thought. Like, right. That's
Right.
such an outlandish idea, is that you just be in the moment. Like you can't do that. Like you're not there. And but being able to find the playing music on a stage gave me the ability to be in the moment. I absolutely live for it and still do. But now I'm on a bigger platform where I can actually help people find what I found. And if, and again, I mean, that goes back to my mission statement. I want to be able to help people with my music. And yeah, I try to do that with everything that I do.
Yeah. And, the song I'm America, it's Wade Kirby and Phil O'Donnell. The lyrics, and I keep harping on it because I've played it probably about 12 times now. And just going through the lyrics, looking at the lyrics of the songs, playing and everything. In every aspect, I'm the prayer, in God we trust. It's as though you're the bell, you're the beacon, you are America, and it literally, the lyrics and the title and how you portray it and everything else is unparalleled with anything else that's coming out right now. And I am so glad to be able to have you on so early on with this song, being out now, and talk to you about what you've gone through, get to know you more, and people can get to know you more and understand the passion that goes into what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And this is awesome. Dude, that song, that the crazy part is that song was written in 2015. And I was talking to Wade and Phil, and I was like, man, that's so incredible to think like how much more like how much more this country needs that song than they did in 2015. Like it's insane. They wrote a song so long ago, but it's so much more relevant now.
Right.
It's incredible, man.
Some
great writers, by the way. Absolutely incredible writers.
Yeah. And and if people go check out, I'm America, and listen and close your eyes and listen to the music, and then watch the music video. That's what I would encourage people to do, because, when you get, and I love music. I fiddle around on the guitar a little bit. I'm nowhere anywhere close to being in a band. I can play your, backyard, get the fire going, kind of strum on it a little bit. And, I've been compared to, Fergie and Jesus when it comes to singing. Step Brothers reference there, but it's one of those things. I have an ear though. I had Aaron Blake on, and I came across him just through social media, and I reached out to him directly to have him on. And there was something about his music, the energy, the positivity, and you're bringing that to the table tenfold with this song that's going to resonate with the American people. And anybody in their right mind is going to go, I need to slow down and start listening. I need to do some self-reflection.
Yeah.
I need to say a prayer for myself, because this song's going to rejuvenate me and bring me back to the point of loving this country again. I have always loved this country. I'll never stop loving this country. I think America, is one of the greatest countries in the world, the greatest country. But, there are people that have lost their track, and it's okay. It's okay. because of the media or politics or whatever the case may be. And I don't go either way with politics on the show whatsoever. I have my own opinions. People are allowed to have their own opinions, and that's that. We can still be friends,
Absolutely.
and that's the kind of disheartening thing that's going on in our country right now. There's so much separation and divide
Yeah.
for the silliest stuff, right? Somebody puts a tweet out, or X, what do you call it now? Like on social media, and they get hell bent, and it ruins their day, right?
Mhm.
And I'm going to make another movie reference because the Water Boy Mama said social media is the devil, right? It really can be if you consume your life and not have perspective,
Yeah.
you and take everything around you for granted. You take it for granted. You're going to consume yourself with negative stuff.
Mhm.
And I honestly think that this song, Scotty, man, I'm telling you, like I am beyond myself, the fact that I have you on my show this early on, because I'm probably not going to be able to, as things progress. It's going to be harder and harder to get in touch with you. But man, just congratulations. That's basically all I can give you right now. Congratulations. This song is phenomenal.
Well, thank you, man. This song is very special. It means a lot to me. Yeah, and like you said, I think it's special to understand that there's other people that live here, right? That we have to, man, we have to be together. Like, it's just, life's hard enough as it is, man. Don't
Right.
make it harder for other people. Don't, there's just be nice. Like, I feel like that's pretty easy. I mean, we all learn how to do that in like kindergarten, right? Like,
Yeah.
just be nice to each other. Like, we just need to do that, man. Like, life's hard enough. Like, yeah, man. I think it's important to come together and just try to love each other, man. I mean, at the end of the day, your life can be taken away like that. I've seen it and I've experienced it. And I think it's important to just try everything you can to enjoy every second. If there's something bad, if there's something negative, try to find something positive. Like, I mean, it's you almost have to, right? I mean, this, if not, you're just gonna go crazy. Um,
Right.
and yeah, I think it's important to just try to live every second, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the big things too is, just coming together,
Mhm.
just love, and that's the great thing about music is how well it can bring. Look at Taylor Swift. I mean,
Mhm.
my daughter had no interest in watching the Super Bowl the last couple years, right?
Yeah.
And now she was down here, through the playoffs, right?
Mhm.
In my man cave studio, which I've created for myself, right? And
Yeah.
I joke, you're like, she's more than welcome down here. She loves jumping on the podcast too. But, she's asking me questions about the game. She's engaged with the game,
Absolutely.
and we had those special moments, and then my wife came down and like, she's not a huge sports fan,
Yeah.
it's just not her cup of tea, you
Yeah.
know. But then my daughter's down, originally because of Taylor Swift, right?
Absolutely.
Then, my wife comes down and they're both asking me questions and they're like, "Oh, we're sorry, we ruined the game." I said, "No, I love this. I
Yeah.
love the fact that like we're
Absolutely.
sitting and you're learning something new,
Mhm.
and that's the biggest point is it doesn't matter where it comes from. If you continue to grow knowledge and as a person,
Mhm.
right? And getting perspective from all angles. You know, I joke and I kid about, the Kansas City Swifties and stuff like that. But the reality of it is they've built unity within that community,
Yeah.
and it speaks volumes
Mhm.
on what they're doing with that franchise and that community there in Kansas City.
Yep.
And is it all Taylor Swift? No. But, there's a lot of people that may not have watched the game if it wasn't for that. And that's the testament to music of
Absolutely.
bringing people together. And I'm America's going to do it.
Well, thank you, man. Yeah, I'm with you, man. I agree. I think that music is powerful enough that it can bring people together. We've seen it before in history,
Yeah.
and I think it's and I think I think it's important. And I think like music that is positive and talks about being, being out there and being, being nice to each other, loving each other, living every day to the fullest. I think music like that is super important. And that's the type of music that I want to put out. I want to put out music that means something and that can help somebody. And I think that that's yeah, man, I agree with you. I think music is powerful enough to bring people together. And hopefully we can try to do that at least a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I talk about it because it is relevant. It is true. And I took some classes on music in college where one of this world music classes, and it wasn't learning how to play any instrument. It was the history of music more so
Mhm.
than anything. And it talks about how it affects cultures, how it grows cultures, even down to like indigenous tribes,
Absolutely.
and how the music evolves over time. The culture evolves with the music. The music is the influence,
Yes.
and it has such an impact on the community depending on what's put out, and I think it is one of those things where if people feel like they have a lot of negative going on around them, it could be one of those things that you switch in your life
Yeah,
that that alters your mindset. You know,
absolutely.
and I truly believe that certain songs throughout our culture, and genres and stuff like that have negative impacts on our culture. I
Mhm.
truly believe it, along with other cultures as well. But music in general, like we said, it brings people together, whatever genre you like.
Yeah.
There's people and followers and stuff. Like I love country. That's my cup of tea. um i went to um I went to the Disturbed concert at Mohegan Sun. Just because some of the songs, I like some of the songs, and I love their mission of community,
Mhm.
and you know, family orientation and stuff like that. So it's one of those things I can get behind. Am I a fan of all the songs? No, but that's my personal opinion.
Yeah.
But it speaks volumes when artists and the industry, really become the glue, of the community and produce such great quality stuff to unify everybody.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely, man. I'm with you, man. I yeah, it's crazy like how much some like a song can like change your mood, man, or like it can encompass your mood, however you're feeling. It can just kind of, it's crazy. Like, sometimes you're sad and you want to hear sad songs, right? Or
Right.
sometimes you're happy and you want to hear happy songs, or sometimes you're sad and you don't want to be sad. So you turn on songs that make you happy. And it's crazy to understand how a song can truly affect someone's feelings. And yeah, I just hope that the feelings that I affect are good ones.
Yeah. So you got some obvious dates coming up. I mentioned the April 13th opening for Chris Jansen and Parmalee at the third annual concert for Heroes,
Yeah.
for the Heroes. But you also have December 4th, your headline Operation Song's second annual Nashville showcase, hosted by Storm Warren,
Stormy Warren.
Stormy Warren.
Mhm.
Um, you know what what feelings do you have going to these venues, and you start seeing your fan base grow? How
Um,
how does that feel?
Man, it's amazing. Honestly, the coolest thing that I've done so far. There's been a lot of amazing things that I've done, but there was a show that I did not long ago where it was like a room full of veterans, and that's man. There's just something so special about being in a room of veterans and playing music and them knowing who you are and knowing your songs and watching them mouth your songs and like truly get behind what you're doing and just understand. Like, there's just something so cool about having that not only that appreciation but that kind of like nod, like, yeah, you're doing it, like it's really cool to just have that little bit. And I just, I think, man, there's been so many cool things I've been able to be a part of. And yeah, man, it's so cool. I love interacting with people. So anytime I'm at a show and I get done, or before I go on and I get the opportunity to speak to somebody or talk to somebody that, likes my song or my music or knows who I am, I want to sit down and talk to them. Like I love talking to people. I love to get to know people and their stories. I love hearing stories. So I always, I always make a point to interact and talk to people because that's one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah. And so I just want to kind of put it in perspective. You made a mention of, you know, the crowd, singing your songs, getting behind you, giving you the nod.
Mhm.
Does that give you the feeling that the once brotherhood that was 24/7,
Yeah.
you feel like that's flooding back when you have that connection?
Yeah, I think so. In a way, I mean, there's just something so cool about, wanting to help veterans and putting songs out that are very personal to veterans. I have, like I said, How Do You Choose is a very personal song from me about losing my best friend in Afghanistan. There's a song that I have on my socials called The Stories That They Tell. And it's a song about why we as veterans tell the stories that we do. And there's just there is something magical about getting that approval and that justification from other veterans, and yeah, it's sometimes it's overwhelming, but in the best way.
All right. Yeah. And that's genuine, man. That's the great thing about somebody that feels the music they're singing,
Yeah,
and has lived the music they're singing. You are this song.
yeah,
This song was meant for you to sing and perform and put out. And that's the connection. That's why people connect with it and are going to continue to connect to it as they hear this song because, with many other greats that have put out huge songs, you know, it's only because they've felt that passion and they put it into, you know, singing it and performing it, and others felt the same way.
yeah,
And I just wanted to mention that because it gives people perspective of what veterans are going through. You know, you may not be a veteran, but in the music industry, when you get that nod from the crowd, when you get that, like, you made it, kind of feel
yeah,
that people, it's resonating with people that are listening to you and
mhm,
singing it with you and everything else. That is just a little piece of the feeling that us as veterans feel when we're around our brothers, when we
yeah,
were in service, that brotherhood, that connection, that's community.
yeah,
That is a unified body of people believing in things together in a positive way to make a change and whatever else. And that is community. And
yeah,
you're doing it. You're doing it with this song, and people are feeling it. People are not just this song, but your music, you as a person, Black River Entertainment, and that's, I mean, they're doing a phenomenal job with helping you and
I
everything
agree.
else. I mean, as soon as I heard this song, man, and we could talk on hours about this song, and I'll try to sing it to you, but it ain't going to come out the same. But it's one of those things. People have to go check it out.
Yeah,
Scotty Hasting, I Am America. You can go check it out on everything. YouTube, you've got the video up there. Spotify, you're on every streaming platform.
literally
Correct?
anywhere you get your music, I'm there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So all the streaming platforms, and I'll speak with Black River after this because I really am passionate about getting this song out as well, to be able to possibly even put it up and embed it on my website. I truly believe, I just love it. I love it. I
Thank you,
can't,
man. I appreciate that.
I'm a fan. I'm like,
I love it too. I
you know,
I became a fan of this song and what it meant, and it was, man, it's probably one of my favorite songs to sing because it's like I'm able to just really dig into it, and
yeah,
it's, man,
it's
I
got
love
that
this song.
grit. It's got that
Yeah,
grit. You know what I mean? It's
I
got that
really love this
grit.
song.
Yeah.
And it's just, I mean, it's just that it's a song. It just makes you move. It makes you want to be like, oh yeah, like, you know, you just like, man, it's awesome. But
Yeah.
you know, it also, like, when I'm saying it, I just feel so proud. You know, it just feels, it feels, it makes me feel prouder to be, you know, not only prouder for what I've done and for what other veterans have done, but also just prouder to be American. And God, man, it feels so good. I love this song.
Yeah. And I mean, let's face it. I mean, being able to hold your head up high, you know, there's a certain feeling, you know, of just, you know, just embodying, you know, a better version of yourself,
Mhm.
you know, and you do it when you sing, and it's a calling for you, you know, and congratulations on learning the guitar and doing everything. And, you know, since the pandemic, because I've been strumming away on that thing for God knows how long, you know, you know, it's not something to write home about, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But,
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
you know, we talk about the song, we talk about your service, we talk about brotherhood. Um, let's dive into Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky. All
Mhm.
right.
Yep.
You're native and you're ambassador for Guitars for Vets.
Mhm.
All right, and heavily involved in Operation Encore, Patriots Fund, Project One Vet at a Time, and Tunnels to Towers. Um, the list goes on. You
Yeah.
know, it it shows that you're not just a musician, you're not just a veteran, you're not just an American. You're part of this community as a whole.
Mhm.
And what does it mean to you being a part of these organizations?
Oh man, it means everything. I mean, that is where my heart is. I mean, from, you know, I mean, that is my my reason for wanting to do this is to help people. So as many veteran organizations as I can get in front of and get to, I want to do it, because I want to help take care of people, and I've seen veteran organizations take care of people, and I've experienced it, and I want to be able to, um, be a part of that, and to you know, to let my music help. And you know, I've a lot of those organizations that I work with are just such incredible people, man. They really are, and most of them are veterans. So it's just, it's, you know, like you said, it's building that community, and 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 kind of just taking care of each other, you know, because that is such a valuable piece of what being a veteran or being, you know, active, being a soldier or a Marine or sailor or whatever. That's such a valuable piece of what we are, is that we are together and we are a community. And you know, we have to take care of each other,
Right.
um,
As
because at the
Americans,
end of the day, we are what we have. So
right? Yeah. And just as Americans too,
mhm,
you know, you never know how much you have in common with somebody three doors down, right?
absolutely.
You may have, I've had people I've gone way off on the wrong foot with before, and then I'm like best friends with now, you know, because we're so quick sometimes, especially when we get into kind of those kind of moods,
Mhm.
whatever, you know, and somebody brushes you the wrong way because they misjudged, and then you misjudged, and back and forth, you know. And I talk about it briefly every time. In my logo, you know, yeah, it's a podcast, I have headphones on, you know, but I wanted something simplistic, and I wanted it to mean something as well.
Mhm.
And you know, if everybody just slowed down and listened to each other a little bit more, you may not agree, right? But you can actively listen with each other and understand each other a little bit more, right? And you can agree to disagree, and
Absolutely.
be stronger together, right? I
Yeah.
don't agree with everything, you know, my family or my friends or whatever, you know, believes in or says, or whatever the case may be, you
Yeah.
know. And I stem it down to like religion, right?
Mhm.
And we're not going to go into any type of religions, but in the sense of belief, right? Everybody has their own belief.
Yeah.
Is everybody like, not going to hang out with each other because you believe something different,
Yeah.
right? And that's the big, I think, divide we have in this country, even with politics right now. One believes one thing, one believes the other thing. And I'm not going to get into my personal opinions. I think that whoever ends up running this country, one, needs to be a lot younger, and two, needs to be for the American people all the time. All the time. It doesn't matter who it is. That's all I got to say about it. Because at the end of the day, we're in hurt. American people are hurting, right? They don't feel, and there a lot of people that aren't even veterans feel left alone. They feel like, the America they knew, right, has forgotten about them.
Yeah.
And that's an empty feeling that unfortunately sometimes doesn't get fulfilled until a traumatic incident happens and the country comes together, like 9/11,
Yeah.
right? That was the breaking point, the turning point of me, like, I'm joining the service type of thing, because I had such passion about the country. How dare you, and getting that pride of being where you're from, and don't touch my people, right?
Yeah.
We're all Americans. We're all in this together, like, I don't care what you believe in. I don't care what you're doing. At the end of the day, we can break bread. We can come together. We can unify. We can be a community again. And it's not going to be that hard. Get off social media. Don't get your news from it, because some of it's not true.
No.
Right. But listen to Scotty Hasting' song, I'm America, because let me tell you, if you listen to that and you think about the love for this country and where you want this country to be and how much you love it, this is the song.
Thank you.
So Cincinnati in Northern Kentucky, what was that like? What was?
Man, it was amazing. So, my dad lived in Kentucky, and my mom lived on the other side of Cincinnati. So, I was back and forth a lot between Cincinnati, the Ohio side, and then Kentucky. But for the most part, we lived in Milford, Ohio with my mom, and I lived in Hebron, Kentucky, which is where the Cincinnati Northern Kentucky Airport is. We used to watch like planes fly over our house all the time. But yeah, it was great, man. I had a great childhood, and still have a lot of friends out there. All of my family has since moved away from there. My dad is retired in Florida now, because naturally he just retired in Florida. My younger brother lives in Florida also, and my mom actually lives here in the Nashville area. So we have since dispersed, but I still have a lot of amazing friends out there. And hopefully I'll be getting back there soon to play music.
Yeah. So, bring it back to where it all started type of thing.
Absolutely. I have wanted to play a hometown show for so long. So hopefully happens soon.
Well, while we're on hometown stuff, I mean, is there anybody, hometown wise that you want to give a shout out to and, just show some love to?
Yeah, man, just everyone. Honestly, anyone who has been in this from the beginning, man, I have been so incredibly blessed with so much support from the very beginning, man. And it has been a lot, the support from the very beginning has really continued to push me and drive me. There have been some times where I have thought about hanging it up, and having the support of people and that I love and that love me and truly believe in me has been so incredible. And that includes Black River. Having support from them has meant so much. And but yeah, man, literally, I'll just shout out to everyone who has been here from the beginning and believed in me and supported me, and anyone who now believes in me and supports me. I love every single one of you. And thank you so much. Thank you doesn't even start to explain how thankful I am. But yeah, that's as much as I think I could say.
Right. Now, your debut release with Black River, all right, how do you choose?
Yep.
And you're left to pick up the pieces from life-changing moments. How how does that strike a chord with you, and what does it mean to you putting that out?
Um, Man, this song was the hardest song I ever wrote. It was a song I never wanted to write. Um, so I this song came from my best friend's mom. She came to a show, and my best friend was killed in Afghanistan, and she hung out literally the whole time, like 4 hours, a 4 hour show. She literally just sat there, and we laughed and we cried and we had a great time, but also it was awful because we wanted Ham, my best friend, to be there. Like that would have, like, he should have been there. He would have loved that. And but so we talked a little bit afterwards, and I was just when I left, I was just stuck with this idea of, like, how do you choose? Like, right? Like, what? How am I still here? Like, I got shot 10 times. Like, what? Like, do you know what the survivability of being shot 10 times is? It's very, very low. Um, and people get hurt less than I do, and they're not here, but I'm still here. And and then started realizing later on that night when I was laying in bed that idea of how do you choose isn't a new idea or a new thought. That was something that I've struggled with since I was at Walter Reed, going through all of my going through all of my appointments and trying to just heal the best I can. And I started learning about all my really good friends that were dying in Afghanistan, and I wasn't there. I realized this idea of how do you choose, like, why am I still here, was something that I've struggled with for 10 plus years now. And then, so that just, like, it stayed on my heart and in my mind. And it really just was there all the time. And so I sat down with I sat down with a good friend of mine by the name of Richard Casper, who is the founder of Creative Vets. And I was like, man, I want to write a song with Creative Vets. Like, I really want to. I want to fully be a part of what Creative Vets is doing. Creative Vets is a nonprofit that helps veterans heal their PTSD, depression with art, whether it be sculpting, painting, writing songs, learning how to play the guitar, whatever. They do that. But they also offer veterans songwriting. So they sit down with a songwriter, the veteran sits down with a songwriter, and they write a song, whatever they're feeling at that time on their heart. They get it out and they put it into a song. And I was like, I want to do that. And he was like, all right, let's do it. He said, but you're already a songwriter. So if you're going to do it, you better freaking bring it. Like, you better really dig deep, and you better just throw something out there that means something. And I said, okay. So I met with Jesse Wayne Taylor, who was the songwriter for the day that we went in, and he's a good friend of mine. And Jesse Wayne Taylor is just this guy who you talk to him, he's like one of those guys that you can just open up to. He just has that, like, that demeanor where you just feel safe, like you can just say whatever. And so he's like, all right, man, well, what are we gonna write? And I was like, well, Richard told me that we had to, like, really dig deep, but I don't know if I'm ready for this. And I was like, I know what I want to write, but I don't want to write it. I was like, I don't want to, because I knew that when I started writing that song, it was going to bring up emotions and thoughts that I've been trying to stay away from forever. And but he was like, well, let's do it. And I said, oh God, okay. And literally 45 minutes later, we had a song. I mean, that song wrote itself. That song truly wrote itself. The verses of that song is step by step the first time that I ever went to see his gravestone, my best friend's gravestone. And that was, I put that off for so long, going to see his gravestone, because I didn't want it to be real. As long as I didn't see it, or I didn't touch his gravestone, then it wasn't real. Like, to me, I could just kind of, like, compartmentalize it, and he's still alive somewhere, like, I didn't have to think about it. And it's crazy, actually, before I went to go see his gravestone, for like a month before that, I started having dreams about him. Every single night I would have a dream about him. And it was almost like something was calling me or pulling me toward going and seeing that and getting that sense of not closure, but that sense of just like understanding, I guess. And so one day I just jumped in my truck and went to Akron, Ohio. And I drove from here to Nashville all the way up to Akron, never stopped, and just went there and sat at his grave for 4 or 5 hours, something like that, and just hung out with him. And you know that the verses are step by step from that first moment when I was terrified to get out of the truck because it was there. I could see it, but I didn't want to get out because as soon as I put my foot on the ground, that meant that it was real. And then the chorus of the song is a conversation, an argument, a venting session that I've had with God every day since I started learning that my friends were getting killed. And I wasn't there to help, and I couldn't do anything about it. You know, this idea of how do you choose is where the chorus came from, and it's truly a conversation, an argument that I have with God every day. And the most incredible part about that song is that we put it out, and so I had written it, haven't even recorded it yet. It was a new song that I just wrote. I wrote it 2 days before. The 2 days after that, I went to Arizona. I opened for Dave Grohl in Arizona before the Super Bowl. And it was a room full of veterans. It was a special performance that Crown Royal was doing in partnership with Creative Vets and Dave Grohl. And it was me and him, and it was an acoustic version, just an acoustic set. I played an acoustic set. He played an acoustic set. It was awesome. But I played that song for the first time on that stage. And there was probably 200 veterans in this room. And I got done playing it, and it was completely silent. And it was the first time that I'd ever had a crowd be completely silent. So my thought immediately went to, oh my God, they hate this song. And that crushed me for a second because this is the most personal song that I've ever put out. Like, this is my heart thrown out there. And then I started realizing when I looked around that they didn't hate it. Everyone was just like hugging on each other and consoling each other. And I was like, holy crap, like there's something to this. And immediately I called Doug, who was my producer and, vice president of A&R at Black River. And I said, we have to record the song. Like, we have to record the song. Like, I was there. I felt what it felt like when I got done with the song. We have to record it. And he was like, all right. And we have, now it's out. It was my debut single with the label, which is insane. But I still, to this day, almost every day, I'll get a message from someone, whether it be a veteran or not even a veteran, which is the most amazing part about this, is that it has since, because I wrote it from my experience as a veteran. I'd never thought about this fact that civilians could also connect to the song. And I still, to this day, get messages from people saying, man, this song makes me realize the feelings that I'm feeling, or this song has, let me see that I'm not alone in these feelings, which is such a huge thing, right? Like whenever you're dealing with PTSD, depression, like you think that you're alone, like, right? Like you think that no one else can feel this way because this is how I feel, and it's terrible. No one feels this. So it's, and it's so amazing, man. It has since like became like a bridge for people to talk without talking, in the sense that, like, if someone's struggling, they don't have to try to explain how they feel. They can just push play on a song and be like, this is it. And, they just can't find the words to say it. So they just push play. And then the people around them understand. And I think when a song does that, it becomes so much more than just a song. And it becomes a way for people to communicate. And when that happens, it is unbelievable. And that song has helped so many people. And I am so incredibly thankful for my best friend Ham for that song, because he was with us in that room when we wrote that song. And man, it's incredible.
Man, I tell you, I just got chills, because, everything that you're saying, and a lot of people don't, understand what veterans go through, but they do, right? anybody that's, watching or listening, you've gone through loss. You've gone through, times of depression. You've gone through, the moments of anxiety and, the flare ups, the effects of PTSD. People have to understand that, and that's why I don't have just veterans come on the show, and getting perspective is, you know, we're more alike, than people realize, you know, and, I wanted to create a platform where anybody and everybody can come on, obviously, as a veteran supported, platform, and being able to showcase, other veterans as well. But it's a testament to your abilities, and putting your heart out there, and putting it into your music and in everything else. And like you said, people can just press play,
Yeah.
and that's the beauty of bringing to people together through your music,
Yeah.
where they don't have the words, but Scotty Hasting does.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And it's, man, with what I want to do, with wanting to help people with my music, I have to open up and be vulnerable, and I have to let people see the dark side of what I go through, for them to be able to understand that, they're not the only ones. And for me to be able to, for a veteran or someone who's struggling to feel connected to what we're doing, I have to be fully and completely open. And, that's a terrifying thought, but at the same time, like, worth every bit. If I can
Right.
help somebody, that's what I need to do, and that's what I want to do. That's why I put songs out there like "How Do You Choose," where this is my heart. Like, this is what I struggle with, and I still struggle with it every single day. And it's and I want people to understand that this isn't, that they're not the only ones. I'm gonna write songs that are raw and real, and they might break your heart, because at some point it broke my heart. But at the end of the day, I want people to understand that you can be real, and you can be raw, and you can be vulnerable.
Right.
That's okay, man. Like, it's okay to be that guy that has to ask for help every once in a while. Man, I've been there, and it's okay to be that guy that feels the survivor's guilt. And, it's okay to reach out to somebody. You're not bothering them, and that's another thing, man, is like, people don't want to bother other people. Man, if you're struggling, I guarantee that person would much rather hear you on the phone than read that you took your own life. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, at the end of the day, I have to be completely and utterly open, and with all the struggles and everything that I've been through, and just to be able to do what we want to do and what I want to do with my music.
Yeah. And I can relate to it, when I started, this podcast and started Everlasting Veteran, and it's not just a podcast, since the inception of it a year ago. We just had a year anniversary for the podcast and the startup of the company. My brother-in-law and I, he's like, "Hey man, let's donate a dog." My brother-in-law owns Rockin' Frenchies, a breeder down in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. He does Frenchies and English Bulldogs, and he's been breeding for 10 plus years now. And I said, "Man, let's take it a step further. Why don't we, like, I'm going to do some research, and why don't we build a dog program, that's different than anything else that's going on, where we give future service dogs out to veterans and first responders."
Mm-hmm.
And I've been fortunate enough and blessed with the overwhelming support, and donating 5 dogs to 5 veterans in the first 5 months.
Yeah, that's amazing.
An Everlasting Veteran pays for the training, in which, partnering with U.S. Service Animals Dog Academy, officially coming up. We are going to be putting out a good, nice announcement. I've been on the phones back and forth with them, and they've given me the blessing to put it out. We're partnering Everlasting Veteran and U.S. Service Animals to be able to get more dogs out to veterans and first responders. But the point is, when I put the headphones on And when I get behind the mic, and I did this with, my buddy that came over, he just retired, from policing. He did 20 years with us, and combination, almost 30 years of policing, did years of service in another police department. And I've been a police officer for almost 11 years now. And you know, I told him, I said, we're sitting in the studio here. I said, hey man, we're not going to, go live or record or nothing. I'm just going to turn the audio on. Right.
Mhm.
Uh, and you can relate to this, you get passionate about something and your mind starts going and you start rambling, and it's nonstop, just, verbal throw up coming out, and you
Yeah,
lost track of what you're talking about. Right. And it just continues,
absolutely.
and you get that, we call it vet brain. Right. So I told him, I said, hey, put the headphones on, let's have a conversation. He was sitting to my right, and, let's talk with just the headphones on and the mic.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna tell you why afterwards, and the rambling slowed down.
Yeah.
Right? The anxiety of passion of what he's talking about slowed down.
Mhm.
It did the same thing for me when I started this up, right? And the first few episodes, it was just me and a mic, no video. And I was putting out kind of my perspective. First episode's called "What the Vet," and it was just that, balled up emotion,
Mhm.
getting it out of, built up over the years of separation from service and life after service, and how I felt, going through multiple transitions. And, I want veterans to know that it's not a singular transition like we think, right?
Yeah.
That one transition is just you getting out of the military. There's multiple transitions afterwards. And you, Scotty, know as well as anybody else, you know, especially coming back from your injuries, starting to write music and everything else, there's multiple transitions in which you have to go through based on what's happened from service until getting out. And
Absolutely.
we sat there and we had a very relaxed, calm conversation. And I said, how do you feel now? Right. And he goes, I feel better. Right.
Yeah.
And, I see your point of how fast I was talking and, everything else. And, your subconscious, it's a science behind it,
Mhm.
and I've been doing a lot of research on it because it's affected me in such a positive way. And
Yeah.
be able to have people on this platform to be able to put their stories out there is so comparable to you diving in, putting your heart and soul into your music,
Absolutely.
you know, and it's
Mhm.
it's a testament to who you are as an artist, as an American, as a veteran, and to Black River Entertainment for the support in understanding who Scotty is, to be able to put out the best stuff, to be able to allow people to connect to you in a special way,
For sure.
you
Yeah.
know.
It's been a hell of a ride, man. It's been amazing.
Yeah, yeah, and I hope we're able to, get another episode in, this year. You have anything, for people watching, listen, anything
um,
coming that you want to get out?
yeah, I mean, I got a lot of music coming. Definitely follow me on my socials because I will be posting where I'm going to be. Or you can find it at scottyhasting.com is usually where my schedule is. Got a lot of cool stuff happening. Really, really cool stuff happening. A lot of music coming this year, which I'm super excited about. The hardest part about being an artist is the fact that you have to kind of sit on all these songs that are so freaking awesome, and just wait for the right time. And yeah, that part sucks, man, because I'm just ready to be like, here, just take it all, take it all right now.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but luckily I have an amazing team behind me that's like, no, stop it, like, no, hold on, you gotta wait. Uh, but but yeah, I have a lot of really cool things happening this year, really, really cool things, and yeah, a lot of amazing music, and yeah, honestly, just if whoever's listening, follow me on, all of my socials. You can jump on scottyhasting.com and and learn about all of it.
Yeah. Amazing. And I'm going to talk to your team, after this about putting the stuff up on my website so that people can, easily access it at everlastingveteran.com and be able to embed the link there, and it will bring it right over to all your stuff.
Yes.
And I'll speak with them afterwards about it, but definitely go, check out Scotty and his music and his journey. And you guys are going to love it. I mean, he loves it just as much.
I know.
You're such a relatable person, down to earth. You're an American,
Well, thank you.
and this is America, land of the free, home of the brave. And I honestly think this new song, I Am America, is the call, the beaconing, the bell, everything that this country needs right now.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that so much, man.
All right, guys, I appreciate everybody. This is Everlasting Veteran Podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Landry, joined in studio with Scotty Hasting, and I appreciate him. I appreciate Black River Entertainment for getting him on my schedule. Make sure you go check out Scotty Hasting and his new song, I Am in America.